And now back to our regularly
Today,
scheduled
we're going to
programming.
discuss boundaries, namely setting boundaries. Now remember, 2025 is the year of taking your power back. Part of taking your power back is setting boundaries with people. Now, when you go to set a boundary with someone, you're going to get a quick look of who they really are, because there's going to be a raw, internalized reaction to what you're doing. Now, something I want to address is that sometimes we assume that other women are automatically a safe space for us. And that, my witches, is frankly just not true. Other women can have internalized misogyny. Other women can have issues and emotional problems that they have not dealt with. They have not gone to seek help. They have not seen a psychiatrist or a therapist or a counselor. And sometimes they won't even admit to other women that they have these issues. Okay? So we can have deep-seated, internalized wounding that is there that they will act like they don't have, because that's what they've been trained to do. So one of the surefire ways to flesh out what kind of person you're dealing with is to set a boundary. That's right. Now, a boundary is not something that's enforced on another person. No. A boundary is something that you say yourself, I'm not going to do this. And then you fulfill that promise that you make to yourself. So if you say, for example, I'm not going to babysit anybody's kids, then when they ask you to babysit, you say no, right? So that's just an example, right? And it could be even something where people think, I'm going to get this, or I'm going to roll up and get this and not give it back, okay? Which a lot of people feel entitled to do. They feel entitled to take your energy, but when it comes time to return in kind, they feel like they shouldn't have to. And they'll even say stuff like, I'm not obligated to do that. And yes, you're right. You're not obligated, but you rolled up taking with the implication that you were going to return in kind. It's like going to a restaurant and ordering something with the intention being that you're going to pay for what you ordered. But all along, you never had any intention of paying for what you ordered. In fact, the full intention was to dine and dash. But then you're surprised when the people that run the restaurant call the police on you or never have you come back into the restaurant again, because you have shown everyone your full intentions and how you actually operate. Now, karma is a bitch, and she will repay in kind everything that people do. A lot of people don't think that karma will repay them, but a lot of people don't actually take the time to really look and see what kind of a human they actually are. They just kind of think that they're good because that's what they want people to think of them, but they don't actually think about their actions or how their actions affect other people. So we're dealing with all levels of maturity here. There's a full spectrum of some people who are wise and some people who aren't wise. And that's just life, right? So who can you control? You control you. You can only control yourself. So again, people think that there's no such thing as an energy exchange. But that's not true. There is always an exchange of energy. And I think that we need to be conscious of it, because we put out energy with the expectation that we will receive the same energy in kind. And when we don't receive that energy in kind, we're upset. And some people are even upset about the idea that they should repay that said energy in kind when they are fully receiving that energy and happy to receive it, and will continue to roll up and expect more of that same energy. But guess what? We all got to pay the piper. When we get to a point where the person that we've been rolling up on and getting all that good energy from, when they get to a point where they say, enough, no more, the way that you react to that person says multitudes about you. And this is the thing. Sometimes we can get really passive aggressive and pissy. And we say dismissive things to people about how they've stood up for their boundaries. That type of reaction, if you are dismissive of a person who has stood up and put up their boundaries and are now enforcing their boundaries, and if you say stuff to belittle them, to make it feel like they shouldn't have the right to stand up and enforce their boundaries, yeah, you're the kind of person that we need to stay away from. But something so important to remember is that is why you set up that boundary in the first place. And that if someone is dismissive or angry or tries to make you look like the bad guy because you set a boundary, you don't need that fucking energy in your life, girls. That person who tries to dismiss or belittle you for setting a boundary, that's an abuser. Even if they say it with nice, soft, gentle words. Even if they say it in a way that makes it seem like they're on the right side. But hey, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. So, train your discernment. If something feels off about what someone says to you, it probably is. Trust that intuition, witches. And if you're enforcing your boundaries and standing up for yourself, and someone tries to tell you that you really don't have a right to do that, that's a bad person. Whether they realize it, whether they realize they are a bad person or not. Because a lot of people don't understand really how bad and awful they really truly are. A lot of people don't understand how abusive they actually are. Because so many of us call ourselves spiritual. We call ourselves witches. But witches got to do some powerful inner looking. Witches got to know who they really are if they want to walk in their power. So that means you take a long, hard look at your bad self, at the part of you that is socially unacceptable, the part of you that harbors negativity, anger, jealousy, hatred. Because if you don't recognize those parts of yourself, you're walking around doing heavy damage and taking zero accountability. There's a saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. Meaning, understand the nature of how damaging what you can do can be. You can destroy souls. You can break people's hearts. You can take away their energy. Or you can incite them to anger, which is another way of you siphoning off their energy. Witches, recognize this. If people show up in your comment section or your DM and they are trying to incite you to anger, if they're trying to put you down, if they're trying to be dismissive of you enforcing your boundaries, you need to block their ass, because you don't need that kind of energy. Witches, I hope that this message has hit and fell within the people that need to hear it. And I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. Mary Part.